The grassroots movement is growing in Tennessee. Welcome to the Charles Cook Podcast. The focus of this podcast is state and local issues here in the state of Tennessee. You can follow my podcast on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, TuneIn, and Alexa. Just search for the Charles Cook Podcast. Like and subscribe or follow on any of those platforms, and you'll be notified whenever I upload a new podcast. You can also find those links on my podcast webpage at charlescookpodcast.buzzsprout.com. You can email me at charlescookpodcast@gmail.com. Today, my guest is Kelli O'Connor. She is part of a grassroots organization in Sevier County, Sevierville, called Empowered Sevier. So welcome, Kelli, and tell us a little bit about Empowered Sevier.
Yeah, thank you for having me on today. So I
welcome.
started in Empowered Sevier a couple years ago, just as a way to, I was kind of seeing other counties have grassroots groups going on, but I couldn't find one where I live in Sevier County. So, I tried to find somebody else that maybe was doing something, but in the end, it seemed like somebody needed to start something. So I just started, it started as a Facebook page, just kind of people like-minded gathering and sharing information. And then it's kind of grown, and we're more than a Facebook group now. And our goal is to teach people the importance of getting involved with their local government, their state government, and to teach them how to get involved, what they need to be doing, what they need to be watching for, and just kind of gathering those people to protect our constitutional freedoms.
Okay. So I know kind of back in 2007, 2008, what kind of got me going and got me started wanting to get involved. What was it that got you started and wanted to get involved in local government and local activism?
I think that COVID was a wake-up call to a lot of people. And, I'm a stay-home mom. I have two little girls that are 5 and 8. And I just remember being home probably, I think it was about 2021. And I just kept thinking, I'm watching the news and I'm thinking, like, what can we really do? I'm seeing our nation struggle. And it's like, what can I do? As I have civic duty to do, but what is that? What's that mean to get involved, to make a difference? Because you see a lot of crazy things on the news and you're like, that's not the way to do things. But what is the right way? And so I just started talking to people that I knew were doing things, other grassroots organizations, and they really taught me about why local and state involvement is so important. And then I was like, you know what? That's what we need to do. Like, who knows their county commissioner? Who knows who goes to those meetings? Who knows who their mayor is and actually meets with them and sees what's going on locally? We complain about things that happen, but we don't know who's behind it or why it's happening or what to do. And so that's when I realized, like, we got to get involved with our local government. What's going on in your county?
Right. So when you started getting involved and starting to pay attention to local government, what surprised you the most about local government versus what you see happen on the national news at the federal level?
That is a really good question. I think that what surprised me the most is that there are a lot of people in our county that I have such great respect for, where I was seeing things in other counties going on that our local officials were not willing to allow that to happen here. But on the other side, I think what was probably the most eye-opening was when we started looking into what goes on in the schools. I'm very passionate about education, and I'm a homeschool mom, but I care what goes on in the public schools. Our tax dollars pay for that. And those kids are going to be the future of this country. So, we live in a really conservative area. Some would say it's the most conservative county in Tennessee. And like pretty much everybody that's elected is a Republican. Um, and people are like, oh, the schools are great, the schools are fine. And when we got looking into some of the curriculum that's in the schools, we realized it's not that different from other counties that have a lot of woke material. And some of the stuff we found in the curriculum, or maybe not even the curriculum so much as the supplemental materials that are used and allowed to be used in the schools, that was really surprising to me that we came across that.
Okay. And so when you came across that and you started talking to people about what you all were finding, um, how was that received? Especially when you started talking about to maybe your local elected officials, like the school board members and stuff. How was that received then by the folks at the school board and other local elected officials?
I think there was a lot of surprise and kind of shock. And at first it was, no, that's not really in there. That's social media misinformation. But what we had found was a concerned mom had sent us a message that her child on their school computer had access to something called Epic Library. And it's basically a digital library that kids can go on and read books. It's been around for a long time. But what happened was her daughter typed in the word rainbow. And when she typed in rainbow, the first book that came up wasn't about Noah and the ark or how a rainbow's made or anything. It was about the LGBTQ agenda, and it was about the rainbow pride flag. And that was just one of many, many books that was on there that were very inappropriate. There were a lot of Black Lives Matter books, but really heavy on the LGBTQ agenda. And so we brought this up to the school officials, and they said, the computer software that filters out inappropriate material for students would filter that out. And then we found out that was not the case, that kids could have access to this. But not only that, a lot of teachers did not know what all the books available were on this app. So a lot of teachers were surprised to even see it, because it's hard as a teacher to go through every single book that's on there. It was a lot of books, like thousands of books. But it felt like when we brought this information to the school and we came to the school board meeting and we had all of our evidence laid out and why it needs to be removed and everything like that, they dismissed it as social media misinformation, despite the fact that we had hard sources for everything that we said. Now, there was a law passed about inappropriate library materials in schools within the last year or so. And after that passed, they had to remove Epic Library from the kids' school computers because it did violate that law.
So that was one of the good things that happened at state level that helped the local grassroots effort out. And sure that even though the legislature got that done, that the people at the state education level wasn't happy about that, because you see what's going on with Bill Lee and the education commissioner here in Tennessee. So that was one of the things that you've seen when you first started out. So in fighting or bringing this issue to light, how was your group able to grow? Did it expand?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's kind of something spread like wildfire, and so we're very careful what we post, what we share, because we want to make sure that it's accurate. But I think that there was a lot of surprise from parents that they just could not believe that here in this rural county that this was available. You would expect this in California, you'd expect it up on the East Coast, but you wouldn't expect it here. And I think that parents were just very surprised by what kids had access to. So in that way, it opened a lot of people's eyes. Some people came to the school board meeting and they were staunchly opposed to what we had to say. They didn't believe it was true. And then when they heard our arguments and they heard our sources and our citations for everything, they were convinced, and then they were very upset, to know that their children had access to these materials for that time, and they didn't know. So,
Well, I know COVID is hard on a lot of things, but I do believe that there was blessing in COVID. And I
yeah,
think what's going on in the education system was one of the blessings that happened with COVID, that parents got to, when kids were at home, learning on the computer, that parents got to see a lot of things that was going on in the system, and then got involved. So you went from getting involved during COVID to starting a Facebook page that really grew into a good grassroots movement in Sevierville.
Mhm.
Um, so now, do y'all have like monthly meetings that people can attend? You know, how does that work with your group?
Uh, that's a really good question, especially today. Um, we have not had regular meetings because we focus mainly on keeping people informed about what's going on and how to contact their legislators. We just came out of legislative session that was really busy, but we've decided that we do need to have more regular meetings. So this week, this Thursday, we actually have our first Sevier County Town Hall meeting. State Representative Brian Ritchie is going to be there, and then Bernadette with the Children's Health Defense is going to be speaking as well. So we're going to talk about, how to get involved in your local government, what that looks like, kind of a local update, what things are going on in Sevier County, and then we're going to let the our speakers talk and have a question and answer time with them. And then at the end, we plan to have some ways to get people thinking about how they can actually contribute to the cause, in whatever way that God has gifted them with their talents. So,
Right. Uh, so I do know that you were part of a grassroots event in January
yeah,
that I attended. And it was a very good event. You've done a fantastic job with that. And I hope you do it every year.
thank you.
It gives people an opportunity to come and hear people speak and be a part and learn what's going on in their state as well as their local levels, and met some fantastic people there. And I met some refugees there, from other states.
Yeah.
And they were very surprised to hear some of the things that was being said at this event.
Mhm.
And that's the reason why a lot of this grassroots movement is growing, is because people are coming here and then they know what was going on in their state, and now they're here and they want to fight. They want to help fight to keep that from happening in Tennessee.
Mhm.
So I think that's a good thing. A lot of people don't want those folks getting involved, but I do, because
Yeah.
they really know, they've seen what's happened and they see it coming. So I think they're a very valuable asset to the fight. Um, so you're going to have your first meeting this week.
Mhm.
Hopefully, I hope that'll go well, and I believe that you'll have a fantastic turnout. I've interviewed Brian Ritchie, talked to him. I've seen him at other events, and I believe he's really trying to stand up and fight against the establishment. And he don't have a lot of help right now, but
Yeah.
hopefully it's our job to push people that way.
Right.
So, what do you envision um, this group growing into, say, in the next year?
Well, kind of going back to what you talked about, the January event with the leadership summit that we held, that was amazing. That event, I wasn't expecting the turnout that we had. And, we had people at the last minute trying to get in, and we ended up way over what we had planned. And we are planning for another one next January. So the details on that, we're hoping to come out in the next month or so. But we are working on another event for grassroots leadership. And we're going to try to have a little bit bigger venue so that we can accommodate more people, because so many people were really excited to come to that. And we're going to try to provide more time to allow people to network and talk to other grassroots leaders and activists. But what I'm hoping that this grows into, we had a very generous business donate a facility that we're able to use to have meetings and everything. But I'm hoping that we can educate people. That is the big thing, because a lot of us weren't taught how to engage our local government. How do you talk to your elected leaders? What is the process of government when a bill goes and is filed at the state level, and how does it work its way through the House and the Senate and get passed and become law, or how does it not get passed and become a law? Like what is that whole procedure like? Most people don't know. I did not know before I really got involved. It's a lot of on the job training. So I'm hoping to educate people on the procedure of government, how to engage your local elected officials, how to submit records requests to find information out if you have a question about something. So a lot of education is what I'm hoping that we can give people to really empower them to be vigilant over their government.
And activist training is very critical with this. And I'll talk to you a little bit when we get offline here. But there's a great organization that I know that can provide some very good activist training. And I'm actually going to have, we're going to be part of some campaign management school that's going to take place October the 21st in Knoxville. So if anybody is interested in that campaign management school, email me at charlescookpodcast.com. I mean, charlescookpodcast@gmail.com, and I will get you that information. It's the school is put on by the Foundation for Applied Conservative Leadership. So it's a fantastic school. I've been to it. I've been to several of their schools, and the training is great. And it's beneficial. If you're going to get in the political arena, you need to know what you're doing and how to fight and the real nature of politics. And this organization does a fantastic job at that. So now you talked about a little bit what you've seen at the school board level. What are you seeing? Are y'all involved in like local county government? It's like, are you paying attention to the budget process, property taxes and stuff like that? What are you seeing?
We go, and I kind of have something to share, that's kind of encouraging about our local government. But we go to every county commission meeting. If I'm not there, we have somebody there representing our group and kind of just observing, because people just don't know, like when you just go and observe meetings like this, you just learn so much. Like you learn about the process of government, you learn about things that were not on the agenda that get talked about. You learn so much about your community when you go to those county commission meetings. It's so important. But we do go a lot. One of the big issues lately that has come up, and I'm so proud of our local officials for standing up against this, but the local LGBTQ group has come to the mayor and wants them to have June proclaimed as Pride Month. And they brought it to the steering committee. If people don't know what that is, they set the agenda for the county commission meeting. And the steering committee refused to motion to vote on it, which means they're not going to even have that proclamation on the agenda. And I'm pretty confident in our county commission that even if it was on the agenda, they would not vote for it. But the mayor has, said, no, we're not going to be voting on this. We're not going to be issuing a proclamation for June as Pride Month in Sevier County. And the LGBTQ group has repeatedly come back to the county commission meetings for 2 or 3 months now and spoken at the end during the public comment period about why they want this to happen, and why it would be important. But our leaders here did stand their ground and are not going to allow that proclamation to be made. So but it's important for us to show up, and we had a lot of people show up in support of the mayor and of the commissioners and their choice in this matter. So I was really excited to see people show up for that. I was really excited to see the mayor stand, because I know that there's other counties in Tennessee that have given in to the other side and have issued such proclamations. So I'm really excited to say that our county did not in that matter.
And that's great. I think I've seen something on the Knoxville News about that maybe about a month ago, maybe missing it by a few weeks or something. But that's one of the things that I've seen about attending local government meetings is, number one, when people start showing up, they get nervous.
Yeah, they do.
Especially around election time, because they think, what district does this person live in? Are they watching me, or they're going to run against me? And then when people start showing up regularly and paying attention to what's going on, that gives them a reason to fight back, because if they don't hear from our side, they're definitely hearing from the other side, and then they give in to those folks. So when they're getting pressure from both sides, then they really have to make a decision. When they're only getting pressure from one side, which way they're going to fall, unless they're very principled in their beliefs and what they do. So,
and I think that our county mayor, I've spoken to him about it and thanked him for taking that stance, because I know in today's world, especially this month, it is not easy to take a stand for that, against that, because every other company out there, every other county, it seems, is supporting their agenda. So it's really refreshing to see somebody hold those Christian conservative values.
Well, and I think looking back over the last 10 to 20 years, I'm a few years older than you. And I remember how all this came about. It was the gay marriage deal, and everybody was just, it's just that, just let them be. And then we've seen what it's grown into, and and now even people that was just like, well, let them be, are like, no, this is my kids now, this is my grandkids, and we've had enough. What's coming next? And so I think they forced it on people so much that people are really starting to stand up and say enough's enough. And it's making it easier for these elected officials who really want to stand up and be outspoken to push back. So, and I think that's a good thing. And if you don't have someone willing to do that, then we need to replace them. So anyway, so you're going to have a meeting this week. You're going to have the Freedom Summit or Freedom Fest again in January. That's your plan. Going to have a bigger event venue, which the other one was pretty full. Y'all done a good job with that. A lot of people were interested in it. So, and it sounds like everything's going good, and so you're continuing to grow, and that's good, and that gets focus on your area. So I think you're doing a fantastic job over there, and what you're all doing. And I think your ideal and your concept has kind of spread into a few other counties, correct?
Yeah, but I don't want to take credit for that, but I'm excited to see what's going on in East Tennessee. There was a group during COVID that I followed over in Knox County. And they were doing great things, standing up to the health department over there. And we live very close to Knox County, and my husband had worked over there at the time. And so I was, carrying what happened in Knox County as well. And they are the ones who kind of inspired me to start this. And then some other groups have sprouted off from that. But it's really exciting to see people in different counties stand up. And then I love being able to network and connect with these people and say, share information. What's going on in your county? How are you handling this situation or things like that? But yeah, it really is growing in East Tennessee. And I don't really see that in the other parts of the state as much. I know that they also have grassroots organizations in Middle and West Tennessee, but I don't feel like it's as much as like what's going on here in East Tennessee.
Yeah. And that's part of my goal is to help spread the message and help inspire people with groups like what you're doing and groups in Knox County or Jefferson County. And I did interviewed the gentleman twice. His name is Kurt Riley out of Sumner County. And those folks down there have got it going on. I mean, they've taken over the county government. They've got the Associated Press reporting on them and everything else. I mean, they're doing a fantastic job down there. And I think that inspires people to get involved. They know that they can make a difference. And, we all heard the old saying, what can one person do?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know you don't want to hear this and you'll never take credit for this, but you wanting to get involved is what one person can get started,
Mm-hmm.
and it's paying off. But there's a meme that I have, and it says, I used to pray for someone to do something. And then one day I realized I was someone. So you can do something. I can
Mm-hmm.
do something, and we can make a difference. All we have to do is get active and start talking to people, and you'll be surprised what a few people, one or two people, can grow into a local community can get done. So that's why I wanted to interview you tonight, let you talk about your group, and hopefully inspire some other people and tell you that I think you're doing a good job. And if people in Sevier will have would like to get involved, or somebody in another county would say, hey, I'd like to talk to her, find out what they're doing. Maybe I can do it here in my county or in my city.
Mm-hmm.
So is there anything else that you'd like to add about your group, what you got going on over there, some of the things that you're looking at as far as the school board or the county commission, before we wrap this up?
Well, I appreciate what you said. I definitely feel like, I'm not seeking money. I'm not seeking fame or anything like that, but I'm a mom, I'm a wife who cares. And, if I can stay home with my little girls and homeschool and, help people get educated and involved, anybody can do this on any level. It doesn't mean that you have to, make it your full-time job or anything, but you can do something. It is our civic duty, right? And the price we pay for freedom is eternal vigilance of our government. So that means we have to be involved. We need to be involved. So if you're not sure if your county has one, I would say be that person who starts something. Start gathering people, just have them over to your house, start a Facebook page, start some kind of social media thing where people can gather, and start attending your local county meetings, get to know your local elected officials, get to meet them and talk to them and see what's going on. It's not as difficult or intimidating as some would think, but it is so, so important because, if it was just me, if I didn't have kids, maybe I wouldn't care so much, but I'm thinking about my children's future and what kind of nation is going to be left for them someday when I'm gone, when my husband's gone. And I don't want them to grow up in a nation that's headed the way it's going right now. So if I can do something, anything, I will do my part. But duty is ours and the results belong to God. And so we just do what we can.
Right. And I heard someone say the other day, what's going on in this country and the debt and stuff that's happening and taking place in this country right now, and the way these states are being run. I'm 55 years old. It may not affect me that much longer, but my kids and grandkids are going to pay for this.
Yep.
What we don't do, they're going to pay for. and we might as well get involved, you know. So, you know, I'm becoming a parent changes you, the way you look at things. It
It's so
should.
true. Yeah. Yeah.
It really should. And I think that's, as I said, one of the great blessings, if there is some from COVID, was it woke some parents up
Hmm.
to see what they're doing, that they're actually coming after your children with this stuff.
Yeah.
And I really believe that was one of the great blessings that come out of COVID.
Yeah.
Good deal. And I appreciate you coming on. Thank you, Kelly. And for anybody who's wanting to look at this, tell them where they can find information about your group.
So we're on Facebook and Instagram. Facebook has the most. You can go find us at Empowered Sevier. It is a private page, so you'll have to ask to join that, but just answer a couple of the questions and we'll let you in. And then from there, I would encourage you to sign up for our email list as well. Sometimes things get pushed down on social media, so we only send emails out when we have special events coming up and important information to share. But we're on Instagram as well. We don't post on there quite as much as Facebook, but Facebook is definitely the place to go for sure.
Okay. All right. To get information, check out their Facebook page as to join the group, especially if you're in East Tennessee and want to follow this group and maybe support them when they have these events. I'm telling you, they had some great people like Gary Humble and some great information with Tennessee Right to Life this year. I interviewed one of the ladies twice that spoke over there with the deal going on with the abortion in the state of Tennessee this year. So check them out and follow them. And when they have these events, plan to attend and get educated what's going on here in Tennessee. So with that, thank you, Kelly, for joining me. It's great seeing you, what you're doing out there. Keep up the good work. And I hope God blesses you for what you do and empowers you in what you're doing. And so with that, thank you. And thank everybody for watching. And we'll catch you on the next podcast. Bye-bye. And God bless you.